Don't worry about it, Jess. It's a podcast. Shh. Go, please. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling World Talks with Dan and Mac.
Tonight, I am at a loss for words to kind of start this program. This has turned into one of almost a trend, and seems like in the last year and a half. Of course, my brother passed away last May. We had the host of this program, original host of this program, John Young, who passed away actually a year ago Tuesday, which then Tuesday we were made aware that we lost a pillar and the godfather of hard rock and heavy metal and a global icon, Ozzy Osbourne. And as we were trying to recover from the gut punch of that, we were told this morning that the biggest icon in the history of professional wrestling, the greatest WWF champion of all time, the Immortal One, Hulk Hogan, passed away at the age of 71. So tonight, I am left with the daunting task of trying to eulogize the biggest icon in the history of professional wrestling. And one of the main reasons that I am hosting this program tonight. And joining me, as always, is my co-host, Mac, and my best friend for over 20 years, who now has to come in and eulogize someone that has been adversarial to for most of his wrestling fandom, and now has to come in and try to say nice things about Hulk Hogan.
So, real quick, hold on, real quick. So, okay. we talked this morning. We actually just talked about this in the pre-show as well with David as well, that we were trying to figure out kind of what to do tonight.
Yes.
And then, late morning, early afternoon, we heard this news about Hulk Hogan, and it's just, I want to be mad in so many different ways about this, but it's unfortunate because I feel like Hulk Hogan changed the industry not once, but quite a few times.
Yes.
So that's where I'm at, because I cannot take that away from him, no matter how much I have had that, as you mentioned, adversarial kind of back and forth with Hulk Hogan over the years. But I mean, I cannot take that away from him.
I would call it relationship between you and Hulk.
You cut out. You would call it what?
A Homer Simpson, Ned Flanders relationship.
That's fair.
More or less. It's
That's fair.
Like,
yeah.
Every time he talked, you'd be like, "Shut up, Hogan." So it was like,
well, let me tell you something, brother.
Exactly. That's probably the first thing he said when he got up there, or wherever he is, depending on who you want to talk to. Also joining us tonight, the super producer of this program, and the man who hired me for this program as well, Pro Wrestling World Talks administrator and also producer of the program, David. Thank you for joining us tonight for kind of a special, I feel like it's almost like a Tom Brokaw thing. I'm coming on and I'm having to be like a head of state introduction of being like, and today the unfortunate news announcement has come that Richard Nixon has passed away. Kind of a weird spot to be in, because it's just, we're kind of not used to it. We're kind of coming onto this program and we like to be able to be fun and hilarious. And now we have to kind of be serious and talking, because there are a lot of people right now online, a lot of people for 80s babies, a lot of 90s babies, including myself, that, we're hurting right now. This has been a rough week. But on top of this is a big one, just not only for just the wrestling business in general. Ozzy was big for everybody. But now the wrestling business, it's just like, oh, you got to be kidding.
Yeah, I was thinking earlier today. I think I asked you on the phone, is like with Hogan gone, who's the biggest star in wrestling that's still alive? Or not Ozzy, but yes. I was thinking Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Ric Flair, and The Rock. The Rock, sort of, it's like it's not so clear anymore.
I'd say with an asterisk. That's what his career is to me. Like his wrestling career is an asterisk because
Ric Flair is like the big, more long term longevity, and Austin had like the moment, like statistically, actually eclipsed Hogan through with what is working through across 3 years.
Yes, he did eclipse Hogan in 3 years. But the thing is that Hogan has two things on. He has two things on Austin. Hogan could sit there and say the initial Hulkamania run, and then that NWO run, which just extended everything at least another 3 years. So he was able to. So we're looking at the initial Hulk Hogan run. We go from 84 to 91. That's full years. And because he was partially out in 92, partially out in 93. And then 96 until probably 99. So you're looking.
It could have been 82 if Vern Gagne wasn't such a dumbass.
Oh, Vern was probably the first one to meet him today.
I got it wrong.
God damn it, motherfucker.
Oh, shit.
I'm sure there was a line, but who knows?
Well, I'll tell you this right now. I'm going to tell you what happened. The big pearly gates opened. In walked Hulk Hogan. Junkyard Dog kind of gave him some side eye, but don't worry about that. In came the song, American Made. He's American Made. And it was that one because Heaven doesn't want a copyright strike from WWE for using a real American.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
There you go. How was my American Made?
Actually, I think I thought they were going to use Hulkster in Heaven from that same album. That one's been going around. The famous. It was the famous song that he made about a sick child that was like supposed to be in the front row when he wrestled at Wembley. But the problem was he never wrestled at Wembley. He was not on SummerSlam 92 card. So it's just like, you never wrestled at Wembley, so I don't know how you can say you were in the front row at Wembley. Because you weren't on that show.
I don't know if you ever played the Legends of Wrestling game, but they have little clips interviewing the different wrestlers. I think it's in the second one. And Hulk Hogan talks about winning that world title at the first WrestleMania. And I was like, bro.
That was 14 months before that even happened.
Yeah, you got a little. I've always wondered if Hogan was really being dishonest, or if it isn't just the years and years of. The man just passed away, so I'll be nice. Alterations to his biological makeup that he took.
I don't think it was that. I just think that he was.
Those things will screw a memory.
I mean, it depends. See Barry Bonds, even though Barry Bonds allegedly took steroids.
I'm not talking about the roids. I'm talking about the pot. Hulk Hogan was an alleged, quite intense pot smoker.
Marijuana.
Yeah, exactly.
I have nothing against pot. I don't partake myself, but I have nothing against pot. But everyone I've ever known who's been a pothead is not the best person to rely on to remember some shit. Hey, will you get me in the morning? Sure. Next day, where the fuck is this guy?
I love that Dan is hitting the vape as you say that, by the way.
Yes, considering
that irony was not lost on me whatsoever.
Considering the fact that my wrestling knowledge has not been lost whatsoever in all the years of my, because everybody can sit there and argue with me all they want. They could come to me about facts, about not knowing anything and things of that nature, especially too when AEW was such like a big thing going on, and I was kind of the resistance and telling people factually what was going on, and they'd be like, "You've never watched wrestling before." It's like
every day I make a post, some motherfucker's like, "You don't know anything about wrestling."
Yes, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. It's like I know more in one day.
I've probably forgotten more than they know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But-
I know I have.
I mean, at the same token, like I also had that 10-year hiatus during the John Cena years, and I still remember so much of the stuff from
Well,
the
I had a
early to
5-year
mid
hiatus,
'90s.
but I feel you.
No,
I had a 5-year hiatus. I only came back for one match, and that was Edge versus The Undertaker Hell in a Cell. I had to see that. Then I was back to 5-year hiatus until CM Punk got it, made it interesting again.
yeah. I mean, that Hogan was able to keep everybody, also get everybody back from that 95 sabotage year. That 95 year that was so brutal.
It was so bad that it was so bad that a low production indie looking show from freaking Philadelphia, it was the only promotion worth watching.
Yes, it was the promotion.
I've watched
of the year.
some of those. I've watched maybe 3/4 of those shows, and I've watched the WWE and the WCW that year, and the low camera res, poor quality sound, questionable fucking match booking, and frankly, half a roster that was really good and half a roster that lacked any lick of talent whatsoever was still the best fucking show in '95.
Yes, that's true.
It really was.
It was. I mean, the fact is
So
that
WCW is better than WWF that year. I will say that. I will stand by that.
not by much, but yes.
Yeah, they had some good mid card.
They
Duggan
did have.
had a banner year, and a guy who never should have a banner year, he had one, doing as far as WCW was willing to go with it. Hardcore matches, for lack of a better term, hardcore by WCW standards. I will defend that. I'll defend a few good points of that year.
95 too. Also, I think had the biggest box office match of the year for any pay-per-view with Hogan versus Vader at Super Brawl. That match was bigger than anything you could have booked at WrestleMania or any show that WWE. Because look at WWE's
their first
main
one was
event
really
stage.
good. Everything else went off the freaking cliff.
Right, the Super Brawl. I'm talking about the Super Brawl one, the Super Brawl 5
that's the good one.
That was, in my opinion, the best big match. The best big match that you could have gotten on pay-per-view in 1995. And that everybody could sit there and be like, "Oh, that's a terrible year for." Yeah, 95 was a terrible year. Look at the King of the Ring. Your finals was Mabel versus Savio Vega in a tournament that also had Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker involved. You had Mabel versus Savio Vega as your finals, and Mabel won.
All right, are you guys ready to hear from the big Valboski himself about Hulk Hogan? Someone just posted this tweet at me. All right,
what did Val have to say?
Val tweets, fact, leftists would be wise to replicate the path Hulk Hogan blazed to his salvation. In the end, Hulk Hogan was saved when he accepted that Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins. Hogan's sins are paid for with the blood of Jesus Christ. Nothing the left can say will change that fact. Like, yeah, let's get political, man. It's not even the craziest thing he's ever posted.
Political and religious. Jeez.
Yeah, he really knows how to make friends everywhere he goes. I miss the days when he just make dick jokes. And those were
that was when he peaked. Like when he was doing stuff with his peak was choppy.
Choppy
peak was everybody laughing. His peak was him talking about his dick on TV.
That is very true. That was his peak because now he's just like an insane human being.
He wasn't even that great of a wrestler. He's a really, really good worker, like in the sense that he can sell, but like actual the money shot is his only memorable move, and there are way better versions of the splash than that.
Yeah, he was a decent worker. I agree with you, but I mean that's where it ended.
I'm so glad we buried Val Venus on the Hulk Hogan tribute show.
Yes, I'm so good. Speaking of people that I didn't think was going to that probably really writing this tweet, this has probably pained him to do this. He probably threw up for about 45 minutes after doing this. Uncle Dave Meltzer today. Hulk Hogan died at 71 today. He is probably the most famous pro wrestler who ever lived, and more people paid to see him perform over the course of his career than any other performer. Thanks for the memories. He probably threw up for an hour.
I don't know. It might be zero.
Writing that.
Give me a minute. I'm going to send you I know you guys can't see it on here, but I'm going to send you something that just came up on my news feed on the chat. You got to see this. If there's some way to show it on here, that would be great because this is a page that I used to work on. And they posted this, and it's what the fuck.
What do they do now?
No, you just gotta. I can read it for you. Swipe up. He's dead.
Oh God,
Said he's died. Like,
No, yeah, he's died. You're right. Swipe up. He's died.
Swipe
Hulk
up.
Hogan.
He's died.
I mean, listen. If I had the Star Trek
That is some
like
decent
audio right now, I'd just be like, "He's dead, Jim."
He's dead, Jim.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure we're gonna make a few cracks about Hogan tonight, but swipe up. He's died is pretty fucking tasteless. Good lord.
I mean, you got to talk about the elephant in the room. And
You know what's
Hey,
funny
man,
though?
Swipe up. He's died.
You know what's funny though is that the caption above that, I can't really read all of it, but it's "We loved you,
Oh.
hated you, but you were an icon." And then that meme is there. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Come on.
And don't forget the 3 periods at the end.
It's interesting how we're celebrating Ozzy Osbourne. And Ozzy Osbourne in the 1980s and the 1990s was considered
The devil.
a real kind of force that was polarizing. A lot of people
Screw
with
those people.
religion.
Ozzy was awesome. Ozzy was
Things
always
of that.
awesome.
Yes, I understood that in the 90s. I understood that in the 90s, but the 2000s, people kind of turned around and said, with the Osbournes, and saw him being kind of more like a fatherly figure and seeing a decent human being.
Let me ask you a quick question, speaking of the Hogan and the
Yes.
Ozzy. All right. Far as reality TV show built around family units, what are the 2 biggest and most famous such shows?
Well, the Osbournes and Hogan knows best. I could
Yeah.
say.
And the prospective patriarchs of both died 2 days with each other. I think that's actually kind of fucking wild in terms of coincidence.
And completely.
You know what's funny too, by the way, is I
There you go,
completely
Dan. We'll pick
forgot
off some
this, but yeah, I know, right?
I'll screw with Dan today.
Both are WWE Hall of Famers.
Yes.
I'd completely forgotten that Ozzy was a Hall of Famer for quite a while, actually, until this week, obviously. And it's crazy to think about that. They both had their own shows. They both were WWE Hall of Famers. Ozzy was obviously a longtime fan, but it's crazy to think that they're both early 70s and both passed away within days of each other.
It is what I was trying to make earlier, the point with in the 80s and 90s, Ozzy was considered more or less a pariah, and someone it was just like he was more of like a shock jock as far as like a
The bat thing is what did it.
Yeah, the bat thing.
It
and
wasn't
the
even
dove
planned
thing.
like that. It's supposed to be fake.
His alcoholism, drug use, pissing on the Alamo, all that stuff that made him a legend.
Okay,
but
but
also
the Alamo is nudist to me.
Vast amount of marijuana.
Parrot.
That too. That too.
Yes, that too. In the 2000s, I mean, he became this kind of like grandfatherly figure. He almost became like Uncle Ozzy.
Yeah,
and
partly it's because of the show. Because I think people
because of the
saw that
show.
he was a genuine human being.
But he also stayed musically relevant until the end, which is something that not a lot of
You know how
artists
many-
do.
There is a shitload of people in the industry. They're not even all in the heavy metal genre that one way or another owe part of their success to either Ozzy, Sharon, or the both combined. If you actually get
Correct.
looking, I mean, there's been people like outside the genre who got where they got because Ozzy or Sharon or both helped them out.
So
Like-
for the last 20 years, Ozzy has been seen as like this, like a reverend figure. People look up to him, and they're really bummed out with him dying and things of that nature. The tributes were flooding the last few days. Hulk Hogan in the 1980s and the 1990s was considered a hero to most people. One of the biggest icons in the industry with very few flaws against him. However, in the mid 2000s until now, it's been extremely well documented the flaws that have come out in him as a person, unfortunately, we all have them. Ozzy did as well. There are things that he had to overcome as well, and things that he did that also were not exactly cool or right or morally correct. There's a lot of things out there that both people had flaws, what I'm trying to say. And when I think of Hulk Hogan, I think of the character. I do not think of the person, Terry Bollea.
Yeah, Hogan the character is Hogan himself said it in a freaking testimony where the Hogan the character is different than Terry the man. Unfortunately, that particular testimony was talking about his penis size, but it is more relevant to the overall person.
Shit.
He said apparently, but like Hogan the man, as in Hogan the man in the 80s, is an extremely decent human being for the most part. Hogan the character is a decent human being. Hogan the man, well, he died. I want to be nice.
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of where, because I'm having to make posts today has been kind of difficult because you have a good portion of the public that have already made their decision and have already just said, I'm done with this guy for reasons, which I understand.
Yeah, they all attended that show. They all attended that first Netflix show earlier this year. Everyone that was done with him. That's the last image of Hogan in WWE. Boo, screw this guy. The last
image.
We hate him. We don't want him. That was it. Like,
you wonder if they're going to do a 10-bell salute publicly and how that's going to be
I think they should.
I think they'll do it the same way I just did it with the opening of the show, where they're going to have probably both him and Ozzy up.
They should have did it for Piper. They should do it for him.
100%.
How will we be received is the question.
Well, the black wrestling fans aren't going to like it, but it is what it is. There's nothing wrong with that. Our opinion's perfectly friggin' valid. If anyone thinks otherwise, then they're just not listening. But Hogan's just too important in the history to just ignore, even when it comes to the controversy. And, well, to be fair, he didn't pull a Chris Benoit. You know? It's really an awkward line to walk across. I get it, but...
It is an awkward line.
But people also need to accept that African Americans aren't going to like Hogan, even with him being dead, and they're not going to be nice about it. And having heard the video clips of what Hogan said, can you blame him?
No, they have every right.
I don't want to repeat those lines because I don't want to get us taken off of freaking iTunes or whatever. But those things are terrible.
Anybody that does not or cannot like the man for the comments that he made, they have every right in the world to have those feelings.
Well, they do a 10-bell salute tonight, and a whole bunch of people get on Twitter and go, "Boo WWE, that's bullshit." It's like, yeah, that's fair, but I also think it'd be disingenuous not to do something special because it's Hulk Hogan. WWE wouldn't before Hulk Hogan. WWF was a regional promotion in the Northeast who, if they didn't have Madison Square Garden, would not be making money. After Hulk Hogan, with Hulk Hogan, and then after is when they became a national promotion from coast to coast, and eventually the international juggernaut that they are today. And
they didn't draw shit after Bruno. That was the problem. And they did
with Bruno, it was only a regional draw because
it was only a regional draw. They only ran between New York and Baltimore. That was it.
Baltimore, New York, and sometimes they got lucky with some parts of extreme southern Canada in the area.
Toronto, occasionally too.
Toronto, because they had to deal with the Tunnies.
Yep, which is why Jack got the job as president.
Boston, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Toronto, New York. That pretty much covers the map of the area. Maybe once in a while, if they did it just right, they can slam into Detroit. But that was more Vern Gagne style wrestling territory.
That and the Sheik too, because of big time.
Yeah.
And nobody crossed. Baltimore was also run by Crockett, so it was like they had to. That was kind of like that.
Baltimore was like a border town.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, you can run this building, I'll run the other. That was kind of like
you can tell who's more engaging by who gets the bigger deal, who does better in Baltimore at the time.
That's true.
And like in 1988, NWA did really well in Baltimore, but they didn't do as well as WWF. And sure as shit, that was about the point where they started sliding off for a while.
Well, that was the year too that Jimmy Crockett found out that he was like in the hole.
Yeah, he found out his accountant decided not to tell him he's losing money until he was like, "Oh crap, we've lost all the money.
We're $5 million in the hole." What?
When did this happen, bro? God.
How did this happen?
All I know is if we were going to make a top 10 list of worst accountants in history, that guy should be on the freaking list.
You should also put Vern Gagne on the list too for not giving Hulk Hogan the championship.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons.
How
I want to talk about someone.
Happen?
Even though he isn't really involved in wrestling, I want to cover someone just so we don't. I feel like it ain't right to just forget this guy, Malcolm Jamal Warner from the Cosby Show, and wasn't he also like it was one of the kids' show like Storybrooke or some shit. You know Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Yeah, he was
Theo from Cosby.
Yep, Theo Huxtable. Yep.
Yeah. I read about the circumstances in which he died, and it sounds a lot like the situation with Shad. I don't know. There's conflicting reports exactly how it happened, but from my understanding, the basic is they were both caught in the water in a bad water situation, a bad current, and it was him and his 8-year-old daughter, and the people came by to save them, and he's like, "Take my daughter."
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very much like what would happen with Shad and his son.
Yeah.
She was able to survive, and they couldn't get back to him. And in time, they were able to get his body, but it was too late.
That whole situation is sad, especially his age, because he still had plenty of life down the line.
I was looking it up today. He was born in 1970.
Oh, okay. So he was 55. Good Lord.
But he's got an 8-year-old daughter.
That's
he's
awful.
55 with an 8-year-old daughter, not an 18 or a 28. So he gets to miss all of that, and that's freaking heartbreaking.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Since the name of the game today apparently is celebrity deaths in this entire week, Chuck Mangione passed away as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. A lot of King of the Hill
unfortunately,
fans
some of
were
our
upset
fans
about
might
it.
not actually know too much about him. So can you fill some of us in?
Yeah, so he was a flugelhorn player, trumpeter, composer, obviously a musician. He also had various roles, as Dan mentioned, on King of the Hill as well. He was a little bit older. He was about 84. So a lot of people, as you mentioned, would not probably recognize that. In addition to music, he also made other appearances on television outside King of the Hill, such as Magnum P.I., Sharon Lewis, and Graham's Elephant Show, which I don't know what the hell that is, but I'm sure somebody out there does. Mangione's 2000 album, Everything for Love, contained a track titled Peggy Hill, because, like I said, he played some characters on King of the Hill. So he definitely had a full body of work. He was definitely more known as a magician, I feel like, than anything else. But, again, this past 7 days for celebrity deaths, man, it's been a week.
This has to be the worst.
Yeah, it feels like
fucking
2016
week.
all over again.
It really does.
Yeah, I'm looking at his Wikipedia right now, and I kind of dig his hat. It's a really cool.
That is a cool hat. Yep, that is an absolutely cool hat. I agree.
That is a
back
nice
in my hat wearing days, I might have gone for that.
That poor guy. Because it's not even like he's the most famous musician to die this week. It's like
I mean, he's probably not even the most famous person, period, that died this week.
No, he's not. Like he's fourth out of this whole thing.
He's fourth of four.
Yeah, that's the hard part. It's like you're not even.
Somebody else has slipped one in. I don't know.
Oh Jesus!
He worked with a guy named Bill Hardman. I hope that guy was never in the army.
I mean,
Private Hardman.
Depends if certain lists get released this week. What celebrities are going to be?
Shit.
Just saying.
I mean, does that lawyer count as a celebrity too? Because I mean, shit.
I don't even know.
Come on! Why are we even bringing that up?
Who died?
There was allegedly, and there was an attorney.
No, he died. It's just the circumstances are alleged.
Yeah,
the circumstances are alleged.
Made a deal with certain people. Yeah.
Yeah, but he don't belong in the same conversation with somebody like Ozzy.
No,
I'm not saying that, but what I'm just saying is that it's what a coincidence, right?
I'm checking the list on Wikipedia
same
because I
I'm
should
not
reveal these things in public. See if there's anybody else we missed. I mean, there's lots of names, but nothing that's ringing any bells for me. Like Main Mohammed Azhar, a Pakistani politician, doesn't really fit what we're trying to do here.
No, not really.
I'm sure in Pakistan that's a massive deal.
It's just been such a week.
Ozzy and Ozzy, they're dead. It just breaks my heart because I ordered Paranoid off of Amazon because I've been wanting to get it anyway, and I'm concerned it'll be hard to get for a while. So usually when a big name musician dies, their music actually scales up in price within 3 to 5 days.
Yes, it's quite interesting.
It happened with Tom Petty.
It is. It happened with Tom Petty. It happened also with Michael Jackson too in 2009.
I was in the Army when that one happened. I remember.
Here's the interesting part because I was when I went out to lunch with my wifey today, and so she just looked at me and she's just like, I know you should be a little depressed about this, but you know also that your collection went up significantly today, right? I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it did.
It's like, I already saw people on groups that were trying to already dump their Hulk Hogan stuff. I'm like, really? Come on, guys. The body's not even cold yet. We're already starting to make dump.
I don't know why they would dump it. They should wait like a week, and then the price is going to go way up, like David said.
It'll take about a week for it to scale up.
Yeah.
So they're dumping it now. They're being kind of stupid.
Absolutely.
But then again, you know what? Selfish greediness isn't always intelligence.
Preach.
The only time that I ever really dumped anything off of someone's death, but also is because I just didn't even want to have it in my collection, was I had a signed WrestleMania 20 plaque from Chris Benoit. And
I kept that.
You have no.
I needed to get it out. I wanted it to get it out. I had to get it out of there.
It's the same conversation, David. It's the same conversation as Hulk Hogan. Oh, okay.
I'm on Hogan's IMDb page, and they got Hogan over there, and on the left, the promotion for the Mr. McMahon thing, and the image was a picture of John Cena, and that's just strange.
Oh, okay.
I wish I got pictures of Suburban Commando, but I ran out of time.
I freaking love Suburban Commando. I will defend that movie.
It's his best movie.
It is his best movie. Absolutely. I agree.
He had a couple other good spots.
I was frozen today.
God, he appeared in Spy Hard, and he comes in. He's supposed to beat up these goons. Instead, Hogan does something very uncharacteristic for Hogan. He puts the guys over, and he tags out, and it's like, who's that really small Jewish sex lady that
Dr. Ruth?
Yeah, Dr. Ruth tags in, and she beats him up.
Yeah,
and it was such a funny gag. But
I remember that. Now, yeah.
He was also in Muppets in Space. I remember.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't see that one.
As Hollywood Hogan.
Oh, damn!
Because he had the beard go with the black beard. And he's just like, he was working for like this tycoon bear.
He's in Saints Row 3.
No shit.
Yeah, he's a voice in Saints Row 3.
I didn't know that.
Huh.
Yeah.
I haven't played that one yet.
I don't know if I played 3 or not. I know I played 1 and 2. I don't remember if I played 3.
3's a lot.
I got them all. I even got Gat Out of Hell, but I've only played 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? That's the thing.
The first couple of those, the problem with that game was the first couple were just complete rip-offs of
I don't give a shit
Grand
about
Theft Auto.
that. It was a fun game.
Then they went over the top with it, and that's what kind of saved that franchise.
Yeah, but at the time it was better graphics and better in-game physics than GTA was.
I know this isn't our show, but I will say this to my dying day that if you want to, in terms of like overarching story, sure, GTA 4 is better. But in terms of gameplay and having fun, Saints Row 2, 100%.
Yeah.
They were practically competing with, you take your car. Okay, you take your car in GTA 4 and you hit a fat lady. She falls to the ground. She kind of holds herself. She kind of weeps. And you just like drive away slowly, kind of feeling bad, like you've done something wrong. You do it in Grand Theft Auto or Saints Row 2, and she's going to fly away like a ping pong, run into a pole, and twist around like an ungodly pretzel. And then you drive away thinking, it's freaking great.
I was just going to say I don't feel bad either way because it's a video game, but you know.
I know it's a video game, but they tried to make me feel bad for these people I would deliberately run over on purpose. And that's why I thought that's one of the things I thought Grand Theft Auto or Saints Row was better on because they didn't care because they just wanted it to be funny. Seeing fat video game women fly through the air like ping pong balls is awesome. I'm burning our audience up, aren't I?
Yeah, well, no, they're used to this in the show. They're just like, of course they're going up. Like they're supposed to be eulogizing it. They're going off on other things, but it's like
check this stat for Hogan. WCW Nitro, 176 episodes, right?
Yeah.
That is more episodes than anything than Raw, SmackDown, because Raw was 47, SmackDown was 35, NXT he did 2. That is more episodes than any of the current WWE shows combined.
Wow.
As far as TV appearances. And then you factor in what was it? Let's see, 23 on Thunder and 6 on Saturday night. He really put himself to the TV side of WCW. Even the old shows, WWF Superstars, only 32 episodes. Hogan put more into WCW Nitro as far as television goes than he ever put in the WWF. And it's a crazy stat in terms of like just being there and being part of the show.
But the business was completely different when he was in the WWF, where it was about Saturday night's main event. It was about the attendance gates, and it was about pay-per-view buy rates. Where the time where he went over to WCW was a guaranteed deal. So
and on top of that, TV was where the money is because everybody got bigger paychecks from TV because of the way Turner had rigged the system against them. Assholes.
Well, that and Bischoff would also told them, hey, you got to start paying us rights fees. We're giving you this programming on network television on prime time. You got to start paying us fees.
Yeah.
And
then they got rid of Bischoff later.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It was surprising. Bischoff, I guess, is playing a really good poker face the last month or two because I'm sure that he's known what's been going on the last month or two with Hogan.
Yeah, but he's better than that. He wasn't just going to come out now. Like he wasn't going to go on his podcast a week before and go, Hogan's dying. I saw it myself. Not like Bubba Ludspudge who did that.
Isn't it funny? Or isn't it ironic? I wouldn't say it's funny. I think it's more tragic. The guy that led to his downfall in the public eye.
Isn't it ironic that he died on the 10-year anniversary of that?
I know. I said that today at lunch. I just said,
damn,
this is fucking really weird. Like, it's just the giant
cosmic punishment.
Like that decade chapter of just your entire legacy now is kind of shrouded because
Hogan did take out Gawker, though. And to me, one of the greatest, even though it led to him saying awful things and all this terrible crap, one of the best things about that is, okay, here's my issue with Gawker to explain why this is a problem. Gawker, before that, was all these female celebs, whether they're big names like Emma Watson or smaller names, they would do things with their boyfriends and husbands and whatever without really describing what exactly that is. And then when they broke up, Gawker would come in and buy the footage and leak it against the will of the various actresses involved.
Oh, I know, they did.
There was a lot of them. Then they did it to Hogan, and Hogan's lawsuit cost him so much money that they declared bankruptcy and closed down. Hogan took out one of the most disgusting companies I've ever even heard of. And to me, all that stuff that Hogan said, can't justify it, can't support it, it was wrong. But Gawker going away is like somebody slipped in a nice little chicken nugget in the middle of this shit sandwich.
He was also inducted in the Boys and Girls Club Hall of Fame right after that, a couple of years after that incident.
Whoops.
So, I mean,
how'd that go? I didn't
Well,
see
I'm
it.
just saying that like he was well received at the Hall of Fame. Like it wasn't. I mean, they inducted him in. They
Yeah.
recognized him for what he did before that, as at one point, and as the article that I wrote this afternoon on Wrestling Glory Days. Please go check it out on Facebook.
It's okay to plug.
Yeah, exactly. I got a plug
You own
inside a
it.
plug inside a
We all
plug.
run.
inside a plug.
We all run this show.
We do.
We're not here with permission of some asshole over there. I am the asshole. I give permission.
I'm the asshole. I know.
Hell, I'm the asshole who runs the page you plug too.
How many assholes do we got in this ship anyhow? We got enough.
One asshole, multiple
We got
ships.
3.
Yo,
Too many ships.
We haven't found shit.
I want to talk about a couple good matches that people don't want to hear about. I'll start with one, and if you guys have your own take, you can come up with the others. Do you mind?
I was thinking about coming up with like matches and memories that we had that we were really fond of.
yeah,
All right. So I'll go with one of mine. Hogan wrestled Bundy at WrestleMania 2, and it kind of blew, right? You kind of remember that it wasn't. It was not.
I try to
horrible,
forget
but
it. Yeah,
great.
It was all right. I didn't mind it.
Well, they wrestled again on a pair of matches at Saturday Night's Main Event, right when King Kong Bundy's career was coming to an end. And the first one, they were both good, but the first one is really good because King Kong Bundy actually gets to wail and beat the absolute dog shit out of Hulk Hogan for a while. And then, they had this angle going on where Andre the Giant is ringside and keeps trying to interfere. And eventually he gets escorted out. Because he's actually, if I remember the storyline correctly, Bobby Heenan had given Andre the Giant his managerial license for 1 day. It was something like that.
Yeah, he did.
And so Andre the Giant's just in there, just being the most absolute dog shit heel out there, and just completely ruining everything with Hulk Hogan. He eventually gets kicked out. And to my knowledge, that hadn't happened too many times in the wrestling business where the referee escorts somebody out yet. But anyway, even after Andre leaves, the whole match is just knocked down far as WWF is willing to go. So, there wasn't too much blood or anything. Knocked down, drag out, actual fight. It's multiple times better than their WrestleMania bout. It ends on kind of a screwy finish where it appears like King Kong Bundy should have won. It was almost. I don't remember the exact finish because I haven't seen it in a couple of years, but it kind of in my head, I feel like it might have been a little bit dusty.
I'll have to go back and rewatch it.
But and then they have another match like on the next Saturday Night Main Event. It's not as good as the first, but they're both really good. It showcased that King Kong Bundy, for the size that he was actually a really good wrestler, and that if they didn't just have, as Savage might have said, hot dogging and grandstanding, and have Hogan wrestle a real match where he has to do some selling, he can have a really good match with someone you wouldn't think of.
Right.
This is, my opinion, the best match of King Kong Bundy's career, and it's against Hulk Hogan. And people don't think about it because on Saturday Night's Main Event. Sometimes Saturday Night's Main Event had the better matches you can see in the whole friggin' era, but nobody talks about it because it wasn't WrestleMania or SummerSlam or Survivor Series or whatever.
Some of his best matches were on Saturday Night's Main Event. It's a simple and unadulterated. It's a simple fact.
Except for Ultimate Warrior, some of those matches were his worst. His best match is against Rick Rude or Savage.
Or Hogan.
After Rick Rude and Savage better, but I'll accept it as an acceptable third spot.
You have to give it to Hogan for being able to pull that off.
Yeah.
I mean, the ultimate challenge.
The image of the Ultimate Warrior Hogan blowjob spot.
Well, that hasn't aged well at all. But I do. It did get Match of the Year for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, so you kind of have to go. Yeah, so Hogan kind of deserves.
PWI tends to base it on draw, though, whereas Meltzer was doing his thing. He just wasn't as big then. He probably would have picked a different match from that show. As far as WWF goes.
But I think but 90 was also kind of a down year. That was one of WCW's worst years because you had the Black Scorpion angle.
According to Pritchard, that's where the slump began. As far as everybody knows that wrestling largely crashed out in 92, 93. But according to Bruce Pritchard, the actual slide off on numbers began in 1990. And
Probably
I don't
when-
see any reason why that's a wrong statement.
He's right, because I think it happened when Warrior won the title, and they didn't really have anything lined up for
According
him.
to Pritchard, the actual money in attendance for that WrestleMania was, while really good, much lower than Hogan versus Savage the year before.
Yeah, the buy rate was lower. The buy rate was significantly lower compared to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So so Vince was just like, we can't do babyface, which is babyface again. Like,
That's what he thought.
Vince
Vince thought that was what was wrong, and I don't think Vince quite had his finger on the pulse of what was going on. I think what was actually going on was that, as much as I enjoy the 80s WWF, no matter how many times I go through it, and no matter how much I love that style, by the time I reach 1990, I start to feel tired. I have gone through that era 3 or 4 times as a wrestling fan, and every time I reach about late 1989, I really start to feel a little stretched, and like I'm ready for Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels technical classics, and none of this slow Tatanka type bullshit.
Yeah,
Tatanka caught a stray.
Well, no, because he sucked.
Yes, he wrestled Hogan style matches, except he wasn't entertaining about it.
He didn't have charisma.
If you watch Tatanka matches, they are a blueprint and a blueprint version of a Hulk Hogan style match, except they suck because he sucks.
And he still brings up that streak that he had, where it's just like, oh, that one that
the streak nobody cared about.
The one that Ludwig Borga ended that no one brings up except you. And like 3 people I know. I'm like, oh, you had like a streak. Oh, who gives a fuck?
Pritchard said that Borga, when Borga left the wrestling business, he became like a really far right politician in like whichever country he came from.
Did you see the Dark Side of the Ring on him?
No, I try to avoid those shows. I don't like too much.
On that one, his is a damn good one because it's really kind of goes through everything he was an insane person. Like a literal and just insane person.
I hear he wasn't too keen on the idea of selling for other people if he didn't think they could actually hurt him.
Well, that, and then too, he had a certain tattoo on his calf that they noticed.
Is it at a very particular type of cross?
It was a symbol that for the his army. So,
well, let's segue into Dan or Mac. What's a Hulk Hogan match that you'd like to talk about that maybe doesn't get talked about?
Hogan versus Harley Race on Saturday Night's Main Event.
Hell yeah! One of the first table spots in WWF history.
It did cause Harley's hernia, but I think for a wrestling nerd, that match is fucking like holy shit. Number one,
hernia is why they delayed doing further table spots, according to a couple interviews I've seen.
That's true, and then too, it really really hampered Harley's career afterwards. He was out after that for quite a while. And then they gave the King of the Ring to Haku, and then then he kind of got phased out in the beginning of '89. So, I mean, that was the hard part.
He was wanting to retire.
He also missed out on a WrestleMania 4 payoff because I think he was not even booked. I think he might have been in the tournament. He had to lose the spot.
When I was after Harley died, and I researched him. I researched Harley. The reason why Haku became the King of the Ring was because Harley selected Haku as a guy he wanted to make look good on the way out of his WWF contract because he liked Haku. That was why it ended up being that man as opposed to anybody else it could have been.
I can't say I blame him.
Yeah.
Plus, it's just like it's Harley. Like,
Harley loved to get back to the business. That's one of the reasons why he's my favorite. Yeah,
he's one of mine. Well, he's always somebody I think that was selfless to the industry. His backstory really also is just truly incredible.
So what do you think? So why did you love the Hogan versus Harley Race match so much?
Because it wasn't a normal Hogan match. It was kind of like a Harley match. And Harley oversold everything. He sold them because Harley's one of the best sellers in the history of the industry.
Underrated still, in all fairness.
I saw him wrestle Andre in Houston. And that was one of the,
Yeah.
I think one of the matches that he slammed him. But
I've
Andre
seen
chopped
two matches
him.
where he slams Andre.
Andre chopped him, and he sold it like he got shot. Like it was just he literally just you heard it, and then he went back at least 10, 15 feet. I almost think he took a bump outside the ring because it was in the middle of the ring, and then he just bumped outside. I think that's what happened. 90% sure. But that was Harley, one of the best sellers I've ever seen as far as trying to make somebody look like $1 million, especially a power guy like Hogan. And it was hard hitting. Which again, everybody sits there and says Hogan's not that great of a worker. I really beg to differ. I look at his Japan stuff. I look at this match. I look at the match he had with like Terry Funk. I look at them on Saturday Night's main event. I look at the King Kong Bundy match that he had. I look at the match that he had with Macho Man Randy Savage at WrestleMania 5.
Probably his best match.
Probably his best match in WWF history ever.
I'd say his best period, at least of what I've seen. I mean, I know that the one in '93 with, I think it's Muda. I know that's a really good match in its own right, but when you consider the way, but I will still go with the Savage match.
I thought him and Flair I thought the Halloween Havoc cage match was really good.
Yeah. Hey, before we hit another topic, I need to check on something here.
I wanted to
on
ask
the
Mac
middle
too,
screen here. It looks like I mean, the top screens here we're looking good. I can actually see you guys moving fine, but on the middle screen it seems to be freezing up a little bit. Is that just me, or is this happening to everybody?
I don't know what you're seeing on the middle screen, so
yeah,
It might have just been mine.
It might have been just you.
It looked like it was lagging on the where I see you. I see Dan on the left, me on the right, you in the middle, and then the picture of Hogan and Flair right there.
Yeah,
Celebrity
no,
Dads,
you're
all
good.
that.
yeah, you're good though.
Is it just me?
No, you're good.
You're good.
Okay. So, Mac, what are your favorite?
I mean, you
favorite
picked
matches?
like half of them for me already, but I love his Japan stuff. Obviously, it's a much different style than what the majority of the American fans that probably didn't watch it, especially back then, would have been used to watching a Hulk
Yeah, they
Hogan
didn't
match.
know any better.
But I have to agree about WrestleMania 5. Him and Savage, it's probably his best match. You know, I agree about the Halloween Havoc match with him and Flair. I think that's also a great match, but you could tell in that match that Hogan's kind of on a wind down, which is very ironic given what happened the next year and the NWO. But I think his best match is him and Savage. I have to say it. I agree. You know, it's one of his better matches. They built it up over so long. It told a great story, both in and out of the ring. It was great. I know other people out there, and I know it's not his best match, but they're going to bring up him and Slaughter.
That's solid for what it was supposed to do. It did what it was supposed to do. And Slaughter was clearly at the very back end of his career.
Oh, absolutely.
He won the Gulf War. He won us the Gulf War that year.
There's another Japan match out there, and this one doesn't get talked about very much, but it should. Hulk Hogan versus Abdullah the Butcher, and it's hard to come by anymore. I mean, you really have to Google search like a friggin' pro to find it, because it used to be on YouTube and it got taken down. Probably because of what I'm about to tell you. Abdullah the Butcher took his friggin' fork to Hogan's head and bled Hogan like a stuck pig and beat the out. If you ever wanted to ask whether or not Hogan paid any dues in wrestling, at least that night, Hogan paid some frickin' dues for the hell that Abby put through on him. Oh my God. I mean, he went from blonde to redhead real quick, and it wasn't the kind of red you normally like. Unless you're into blood, you frickin' freak.
Some of those covers, I remember the one that really kind of freaked me out when I was a kid was him and Kamala. And Kamala had him on like a skewer. Like it was just like, I want Hulk Hogan's head. And it was a bloody Hulk Hogan. I think it was from that match he had with that doula.
I can't believe they never ran a PPV on that, on Hogan and Kamala. I always thought
it is kind of surprising, but I
think they did some like house shows. I think they did some house shows, maybe they reshowed one of those matches on Superstars. I can't even recall seeing it on Saturday Night's Main Event, but
Prime
that's
time,
actually
maybe.
at the point where I'm starting to. That's at the point where I'm starting to feel a little stretched as far as that style of wrestling goes, and I have a harder time retaining what happened on those shows than I do with, say, SM&E 85 to 89. So there you go.
Primetime wrestling, maybe.
I haven't seen any of the prime times because it's hard to get across.
They've gotten a lot better with WWE Vault. They're putting a crap load of the classic stuff out there now.
What do you think was Hogan's best match post WCW? Like, it's over, but he comes back.
Probably him and The Rock.
Yeah, him and Rock.
In terms of engagement, I agree. But I will always love him and the Shawn Michaels match more. But it's more because Shawn Michaels is still in the show.
I'm actually gonna back up the photos just because you said that, because I have one of the photos that I pulled is obviously this one, the face off between the two, but also Shawn's spoof of Hulk Hogan.
I believe my first wrestling DVD is the Royal Rumble 2006, but after that I bought SummerSlam 2005 so I could watch Hogan versus Shawn, and I was not disappointed, except for the rest of the show was kind of weak. I think Cena versus Jericho was really good, but the rest of the show seemed kind of piss poor. But Hogan versus Shawn Michaels was fun. Over the top, crazy. Shawn Michaels can literally bump 3 times to the same move, trip over a cord, get mad at the cameraman, still in the same move. But I don't care. It was awesome.
What do you got, Dan? What do you got? I thought you were grabbing a figure, if anything.
I was, but because I just thought of it, but I was also commenting too on the fact that Mac and I were watching that pay-per-view together with a friend of ours, and so we were all so pissed that night. All 3 of us. We're just looking at the finish. We're just like, oh, there's the sweet shit music. But I knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, he's gonna kick out, leg drop. That's it. And we're just waiting. All of a sudden, with that leg drop, Hogan. I've never seen Shawn sell something so beautifully in my life.
Yeah.
He sold it was the big boot was fantastic when he sold it and then jumped around for 5 minutes.
Hogan was like looking at us like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah.
Hogan came around on that match because I remember I've watched various Hogan interviews over the years. When he was on Rosenberg, he was kind of bitching about it a little bit, 2006, 2007. But when he was right when he got fired from TNA, he did I guess you call them town hall style interviews because he was him and Bischoff were taking questions from the audience, and somebody asked about the match with Shawn Michaels, and he was like, I thought it was pretty good, brother. And he started to talk about how he actually kind of enjoyed it. I was like, I guess Hogan grew up a little.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Athletically, that may have been his best match that I've seen.
At least post WCW.
Post WCW, that may have
not
been
athletically. I mean, the man did a fucking enziguri to the Muda. That's going to win the athletic points.
I'm just saying, as far as someone making him look like $1 trillion at that stage of his career, I don't care about the overselling. He's working with somebody that's 51 years old with bad hips and bad knees.
Did you ever see him versus the Big Show, but he was under the name of the Giant, in Memphis in 2006 when 2007 when both of them was out of the company? First off, Hogan was supposed to actually wrestle somebody else. I think it might have actually been Jerry Lawler, but WWF pulled.
Yeah, I heard about. Yeah, I heard it was Lawler,
and so they had Hogan versus the Giant, and I watched it on a low res YouTube video because that's how YouTube was back then.
Yeah,
and I remember I can't tell you if it was great or not because it's been almost 20 years, but I do remember Hulk Hogan slamming the Big Show in 2007.
I do remember that, yes.
And that was really cool.
I thought he would have been able to do that with Great Khali at the Raw 15 show.
Yeah. I'm trying to just imagine Khali being capable of doing the exact thing that he needs to do. Because I'm almost afraid that Hogan has to dead ass Khali, and that might be a problem. Because I mean, if we're going to talk about big guys in wrestling, if we're going to go from a scale of the best to the worst in terms of ability for giants, it's pretty much the Khali to.
It's Giant Gonzalez or Khali as far
It's
as
the
Giant
Khali to
Gonzalez.
under the giant scale.
it's Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah, the Giant Gonzalez to the under the giant scale in terms of in ring ability, and the Khali's really close to the Giant Gonzalez side of that.
I'll say
Well,
it's close, but I think it's still Giant Gonzalez.
Well, Giant Gonzalez can't do anything. Well, Giant Gonzalez and Zeus can't do anything, and Khali at least has a really cool looking face hand slap.
Oh, you mentioned Zeus.
You damn right.
You mentioned Zeus.
My thing is, if you have a guy like The Undertaker who is telling you what to do and you still can't do it, that's not good. That's really not good.
Yeah.
So since David mentioned Zeus, because I knew I was going to have to bring out some of the big guns as far as the collection is concerned. How about this No Holds Barred set? That is a VHS set. It's actually in the shape of a VHS box. And then the figures are actually displayed in a VHS tape.
I'm having flashbacks from a different
I'm
conversation
going to do a Zeus
yesterday.
promo for you.
I know,
Are
right?
you ready? Here's a Zeus promo. Ah! Ah! Ah!
But here they are.
There you go, that's
They are
Zeus.
in all their glory. These are fantastic figures, by the way.
How was that
This is-
promo?
It's pretty spot on, honestly.
That's why I had Kurt Fuller had to talk for him in the movie. You
Jesus.
jackass!
You know, the fucked up thing is, that's Tiny Lister, and he can actually fucking talk. But he was supposed to be a screaming lunatic. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen his work outside of wrestling. I mean, he's the one with the
of course,
bomb in the
Debo.
Batman movie. You're supposed to take your life, but you can't do it. Whatever it was he said, and he throws the bomb out the window.
Debo.
Yeah.
I mean, he was also the president of Fifth Element. Over my man.
Wow. I haven't seen that movie in so long. I forgot he was in it.
Negative. I am a meat popsicle.
And he played I always remember this. He played a Klingon in Star Trek Enterprise. You know, the really awful one. And
Excuse me.
and the name of the Klingon was Clang.
Excuse me. I need to mention this about the Fifth Element.
Go ahead.
Fuck you and Johnny for that fucking drinking game.
I
you piece
love
of
you
shit.
too.
Fuck you.
I love you too.
Fuck you.
I don't think I got that far into that either, honestly, because I probably would have died of alcohol poisoning.
Jesus
I have
Christ.
just
What
not.
the fuck were we thinking?
Sounds like you guys put one on.
It was some.
We found it online. I don't know. It was like every time Ruby Rod said super green, you got to take a drink.
Look, it was
Every time there was an
alcohol.
alien, you got to take a drink. Like there, it got
You wouldn't want to do
obnoxious
that
by
with
the
You
end.
wouldn't want to do that with Star Wars. You'd die of alcohol poisoning, especially in the
Well, the
prequels.
alien part, yeah, but I
Yes.
mean, there were just some of really obnoxious rules, like the super green one. Taking a drink every time Ruby Rod said
my
green or
God.
super green. Just I was done.
I'm one of the minority of the people who are happy that it gave us Mila Jovovich, more so because she's a stone cold killer as far as characters go than it is any actual ability.
I think that was another one.
I like my movies like I like my history with a body count.
I think, Jesus, I think that was another one too. Every time that either Mila Jovovich or Ian Holmes' character spoke that alien language, you had to take a drink.
Oh my God.
Every time Corbin called his mom, you had to take a drink. Like this is all memory coming back to me. I'm not even
I
looking
gotta
at
go
this
watch
stuff
this movie.
right now.
The last time I saw this movie, Bill Clinton was president.
I wish I
I've
could
had-
say the same. I haven't
had
seen it
8 or
in
9
well over 5 years at this point.
I've had all 9 of my concussions in my life since I've seen this movie.
No, we willingly saw it within the last 15 years or so. There was booze involved.
It has to be, apparently.
Well, hey, look, we were different people back then.
We were all different people back then. We are modern now.
Now we're just stoners and just we deal with that. That's how we deal with things. 'Cause-
That's like take a puff.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot healthier than having to, sit here and be. That was also, I think, around the same time that I was trying to pitch to my ex, naming my child after the Bruins goalie Tuukka Rask. Around the same time,
You said no, right?
she said no.
Thank God.
Then she said no. Then pretty much had an intervention with me the same weekend. that's how that went.
He's like, "You're so drunk. You made this idea. It's time to talk."
Yeah, it's pretty much just like, yeah. So how's this going? It's like, oh shit. And then because
Based on the fact she's your ex, I assume the intervention didn't work.
no, it worked. It just
worked.
Everything else didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything else fell apart. Oh, she got me clean. Dumb bitch. She's out.
No, I wouldn't say she's a dumb bitch. It's just shit happens.
I would.
It didn't work out.
Sometimes you just ain't meant to be.
Yeah, you're not meant to be. It just you didn't work out. I owe her my radio career because her kind of making the move to Connecticut helped me get that. So I give her that. And the radio job kind of helped me get this job. So it's apples and oranges. That's the way I got to look at things as far as the journey in life. It's funny how many people too long standing relationships with people, also people from my current job that reached out to me today and on Tuesday. Tuesday was funny because I'm at work and I got the news about Ozzy and it's around 2:30 and my boss just sees how I'm doing and just says, go home. And how today, at one point, when I got the text from another group chat that involved Mac, where literally I threw my headphones down and yelled, "What the fuck?" in the middle of my office.
Oh,
Yeah.
my reaction too. I think my reaction was, God fucking damn it.
Yeah.
I got 3 Facebook messages from people I haven't talked to in a long time. I said, and one of them was like, "Is Hulk Hogan dead?"
Yes.
I was like, "What?" And then I was like, I saw the TMZ. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
I haven't spoke to this guy in 2 years, and that's what he says to me. Is Hulk Hogan dead? It's like, oh.
Then the text started to pour in. My uncle called me a few hours ago. Who?
Dad asked me if Jesse Ventura had died. He doesn't know anything about wrestling. He just knows Jesse Ventura because Dad liked his politics.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
But yeah, I was on the phone with Mom, and I hear Dad go, "Is Jesse Ventura dead?"
No,
No.
Dad.
No.
He should go in a bubble at this point, though. Just saying.
Must protect certain people.
Apparently.
But no, my uncle called me, and my uncle was the person who got me into this. I even told him that, reminded him, and I said thank you for getting, because he kind of was the one that, because he was the fan of it, showed us the way, and then Hogan was kind of the first one that we all kind of attached to, and that was me and my 2 brothers at the time that were into the wrestling industry. So, and I just kept going. They actually went to the first WrestleMania. They went to the closed circuit show in Worcester. It wasn't at the Garden, but they did go to the closed circuit. They always tell me that. They're like, "We went to a WrestleMania before you did." It's just like,
Of all the tweets that I saw about Hulk Hogan, this one's a good one. This one really surprised me in what I read because I wasn't expecting this. Charlotte Flair tweeted, "When I nearly lost my dad 8 years ago, one of the few people who was there for all of it was Hulk Hogan. My heart breaks for Nick and Brooke. Rest in peace, brother." And I was taken aback by that. I know Hogan and Flair became pretty strong friends after WCW was over, but I still wasn't expecting something like that from Charlotte. It's one of the few personal messages I've seen, the personal related tweets I've seen regarding Hogan.
after Reed died, I heard that they became close.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Flair put in his book that one of the reasons why Hogan and him had issues was because Eric Bischoff was putting them against each other.
Well, there was that, and then there was the whipping incident from Sold Out of '99 on David, which caused some issues because Hogan when Flair says that Hogan took liberties, it might be the case. I don't know. Again, I think it's just Hogan trying to draw heat. Maybe he got carried away, but at the same time, it's like when you're
I
that
don't
much
see
of
why
it.
Hogan should have been whipping people in 1999. Hogan doesn't need if you need to start having Hogan doing that to draw heat, then things have definitely staled up.
Mania 6 is one of those decisions that, on retrospect, should have been different.
Yeah, I
Like,
can't
it
really
should have went the
even
other way.
Hogan's admitted in interviews you can't really blame Vince for trying with Ultimate Warrior.
No,
It looked like he could have been the guy.
it did look like that, but still at the same time, Hogan knew that it wasn't the right decision, that he was going to need to get called back, which he did. He had to come back because the reason why that SummerSlam was a success, I think, was the back on was the fact that Hogan was coming back. Because there was still a drop off from 6 to SummerSlam 90. I mean, the fact
I think
was,
the drop off would have happened no matter what.
There was
champion.
I mean, there was definitely a tide starting to turn. Like, you could definitely tell that those undercard guys were getting more of a spot, because you look at that match that Brett and Neidhart had, the Hart Foundation versus Demolition at SummerSlam 90, which was the best match in the card, regardless, but it was
Might
2
be
out
the
of
best
3
match
falls.
of the year in that promotion.
It was the match of the year in that promotion. But they knew Brett was starting to butt out, because they made him champion. They saw the reaction that he got, which Brett said in his book that was also Hogan's return kind of in the locker room, and that when they won the tag team titles back, that Hogan actually led a cheer in the locker room for them when they came back and with the titles. So there was a lot of friendliness that was going on at that time between Hogan and kind of the boys and things of that nature. When Hogan was retiring at WrestleMania 8, Brett did a drawing. Brett did a drawing for him, which everybody signed, and he gave to Hogan, and Hogan teared up. And then a year later, Hogan comes back and completely derails Brett's momentum that was already being built up. That when I was 9 years old, when Hogan won the title back, I loved it. In harsh retrospect, it's hard for me not to sit there and not get a little kind of angry at the fact that it did derail a lot of the momentum for Brett, because Brett really needed that kind of WrestleMania solidification that he was the guy. He never got that. He never, ever got that until
the fans
10.
loved Brett, but they only really clamored for Brett after he got screwed like that.
That's true.
Clamoring is what got him his spot back.
The thing also too, because if you saw that WrestleMania 9 documentary on Peacock, and it is factual that it was a slow gate, and then Hogan came back on Raw a month or two before.
Nobody's ever going to figure out that Vegas is a terrible place to have a wrestling show.
It did sell, though. The gate went up tremendously when Hogan got put in the card. So it was a good sell for them at that point. And then, too, it also, when the gate goes up and everything, you now have all these metrics out there of how it was selling. Then your name gets announced, and then all of a sudden the building's sold out. Then you walk.
It's not a good look for your original champion,
and you walk into Vince's office, and all you have to say is, "Look what happened."
Look what happened, brother.
Yep.
But at the same time, I don't know the numbers, so I can't verify some of this, but I'd be willing to bet. But one thing I can't help but notice, if you think about the Attitude Era stars, the number 1 guy is Steve Austin, the number 2 guy is The Rock, the number 3 guy is debatable between The Undertaker and Triple H, right? But when Triple H comes out on that particular Raw, coming back from injury, for that particular moment, he's the most important guy in the entire friggin' company.
Yes.
There is something to be said about. I think I've heard it called the return bump. And Hogan been gone for almost a year and came back, right? And then Hogan had been gone about a year and then came back. He gets a return bump. If he'd been working all those shows, would the Vegas show have sold out as fast?
Probably not. No. So,
You would have probably got Hogan versus Flair, maybe, or maybe they just wasted on a house show. I don't know. But still
never got that. Like that.
Bash in the Beach presses the button. The Bash in the Beach match and the Halloween Havoc presses my buttons well enough that I'm able to get over the fact we didn't get it in WWF.
We didn't get a WrestleMania, which we should have.
But I can live with it because I'm very happy with their two matches they had in '94.
That's true. That is true. But it's still it is still kind of like that one thing. Is like, you look at the card of WrestleMania 8, and it's just like, it's that one glare. You're just looking at it, you're just like, this just doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, but Flair versus Savage was the better match than Hogan versus Flair ever would have been.
It was the whole match was good. The whole night was great, other than Hogan and Sid, which just,
Hey, Sid got a kick out of a freaking leg drop, an unplanned kick out. That must have been awkward.
His Papa Shango didn't see his damn cue.
Well, he was a big guy. He didn't see his damn cue, and he's supposed to sprint through that arena all the way to the ring.
Man, how the Warrior made it all the way down there. Fucking, like, they did a great job camera-wise, but they just saw him clear shot running down that ramp. And you're just like, holy shit. That poor guy. I'm actually watching right now. I have it on the background. SummerSlam 91, which might be one of the biggest nights of Ultimate Warrior's career.
Is that when he gets fired?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
one thing I really hate about Hulk Hogan's wrestling career right there. Until we get to his match against Shawn Michaels, I don't think he wrestled a single SummerSlam as a singles competitor until Shawn Michaels. He's the champion or not the champion, depending on your year, but it's always a tag match against the Mega Bucks, against Zeus and Savage.
90 against Earthquake. That was a one-on-one match.
Yeah, fair point. I'll give you that. Okay, he had like 2.
Out, but still.
Which is bullshit for a damn pay-per-view. Okay? That's just a bunch of crap. A pay-per-view, especially a Big Four, ending with a count-out with Hulk Hogan. And, I could accept it if they had a major match on a next pay-per-view, which I guess would be Survivor Series, but no. I think they resolved it on some house show somewhere.
Actually, speaking of SummerSlam, this is the Mega Power set. This actually is cool as hell.
It is cool.
Yeah, it's just, because they were only tag teamed like a couple of times, but still they're one of the most highly regarded as a tag team in history. Never won the tag team titles, still one of the most highly regarded in company history.
It's cool. Okay, I was telling my wife about some of the stuff with Hulk Hogan. She don't know shit about wrestling. And I was talking about Hulk Hogan, that WCW promo where he's in a cave. He's like, "There's no Hulkamaniacs in here." And then he's walking around and he touches the water. He goes, "It's not hot.
It's not hot. It's not hot."
I'm sure that wasn't what he's supposed to say.
Oh my God. That is, but you think they would do like a retake, but it's like they just were like, we'll just leave it in. Fuck it.
He's like, that'll do.
I found another one, by the way. Hulk Hogan versus Randy Orton the next year.
I was there for that.
Yeah, that was also SummerSlam.
I was in the building.
I give that match a 2.5 out of 5 because the only person working in that match was Randy Orton. Looked like he had to keep running into a fucking tree.
I was in the building for that, and I think I was the only one. I was rooting for Randy Orton. Like
you weren't the only one.
Yeah, no,
There you go.
I was rooting for Randy Orton that night.
Hogan got the nerve to go on the Rosenberg not long after that and said that his match was the only match that anyone cared about when the Edge versus John Cena match was hot and everybody was screaming.
Yes, for Edge.
Yes, I know.
It was his own hometown.
But more to the point, they were into it. Freaking Hogan acts like it's like a cold match. Nobody cared.
I was rooting for Edge that night, and I was also drunk.
I was rooting for Edge that night because I just like Edge. And I like Cena, but I like Edge more.
I was making fun of kids on my way out the door that were crying.
Aw.
Yeah, I was just like, really? I'm like, really? Breh, my guy lost. Breh. Kids were fucking parents were getting mad at me because I was making fun of their kids. They were dumb. Why did anybody want to support John Cena? Like Hulk Hogan looked like a champion. He represented as a champion. He actually carried, I think, the ball even a lot. I love it when Cole comes out and it's just like, he's the greatest of all time. It's like none of his reigns could even equal like a tenth of what Hogan did as far as business is concerned. 84 through 88, that title reign might be the greatest, not only WWF championship reign, you can make an argument is the greatest championship reign in professional wrestling history. The fact of that it was headlined with 3 consecutive WrestleMania appearances, 2 consecutive, which also were all main events, including the third one that was in front of 93,000 people. And if you want to believe Meltzer's numbers, whatever, fine. I don't care.
Meltzer, and I think it was 80,000 and they weren't even all paid.
Oh my God. That literally is.
I don't know. There might be 0.
It's just, why is this a thing? Why do you have to make this a thing? And just, why can't you just sit there and be like,
fair,
okay.
Him questioning WrestleMania 3's number is his WrestleMania. It got him his first taste of notoriety, from my understanding.
Yeah,
because everybody else was like, yeah, that happened. And then he said, no, it didn't. And everybody's like, what the fuck? And people started buying his magazine. It's the beginning. It's his WrestleMania. It's his WrestleMania 1.
And then he was even in the documentary. He's just like, he's still dying on that hill. And
a friend of mine, with regards to Meltzer, this is what he told me about why Meltzer got big, aside from that I just said. This is from before your days on Wrestling Glory days, but I used to be owned by another guy named Charles Spencer. And he pointed out that for a long time, whenever anything happened in wrestling, they needed to talk to a wrestling journalist. Most of them, like Bill Apter, wouldn't talk to any of these people. So the press always had to go to Meltzer because the Meltzer was the only major journalist willing to talk to those people. And in turn, that got his name out there. Like I watched a I was doing research for an article, and I watched a news report on who's the guy they had dressed up as a woman a lot from the 80s? It's kind of really, really big.
Adrian Adonis.
Yeah, I was watching a report on Adrian Adonis's death, and then they talked to the family, they talked to this guy, and then suddenly they caught to Dave Meltzer, wrestling journalist.
I think that was on Entertainment Tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it might have been. It was either that or hard copy. It's one of the two.
Yeah, you're right.
I think you're right. But Dave Meltzer, wrestling journalist. He's got a really, really weird, not frohawk, not mohawk, mullet, but like a really, really thin mullet, like a Bruce Springsteen mullet, if there is such a thing. And it's like, yeah, and if you go looking for all the other news reports of big things like that in the 80s, you're going to see Dave Meltzer, wrestling journalist, not Bill Apter, none of those other guys.
It's Dave.
Meltzer. And Charles says this while not liking Meltzer, he says, that's what made Meltzer matter, because everybody saw his name, and eventually, over time, they started buying his magazines because he was the one that the press was treating like a legit journalist, and they did so because he was the only one willing to talk to him.
Well, he also ended up working too for Frank DeFord's The National, which was a national sports paper.
Wonder when he got his column in Sports Illustrated, because he gets to do one.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was a contributor also for Sports Illustrated as well. Meltzer also got notoriety after the 1992 Donahue episode, which discussed the steroid scandal and the ring boy scandal, and the sexual abuse allegations.
And he was actually neutral, which is really weird when you think about Meltzer's history. He was actually neutral on this subject.
You know, also where they put him, who they put him next to, it was him and Vince.
Yeah,
and
their relationship was still good at the time, from my understanding.
Yeah, they had a good relationship. Actually, Dave has admitted, I don't know, because again, this is coming from Dave, but I do believe him on this one. When he says that him and Vince was actually him and were talking. And that was probably true because Vince was getting destroyed in the mainstream press. So he probably buddied with Meltzer because nobody else was talking to him. So he kind of felt like he needed to talk to someone and have somebody on the side. So that was an interesting time. And that was also a time when Hogan dipped out of the company. Like he was nowhere near that Donahue episode. I think he was in Hollywood somewhere shooting either Mr. Nanny or it's probably Mr. Nanny. It's just like
I don't want to. The only thing I remember enjoying from that movie is when he used electricity to shock the children. He had it coming from his fingertips into their heads. I thought that was funny. The rest of it blows a goat. I'd rather watch The Chaperone with Triple
Maybe
H.
he did. He might have also done Thunder in Paradise as well that year.
I've never watched that show. I've actually kind of wanted to because I kind of like those Walker Texas Ranger ripoff type shows.
Kind of like Baywatch with a boat. That's pretty much what it is.
Baywatch with a little more action.
Baywatch without Pamela Anderson.
I think Triple H actually. Sorry, I think Hulk Hogan actually did an episode of Walker Texas Ranger. I think.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So did Roddy Piper. He did an episode of Walker Texas Ranger. I was also thinking of Hogan and Savage.
When you think,
Vader.
you roll your eyes in the back of your head like you're the freaking Undertaker.
Because my brain is just like I need to.
Your brain is way back there, and it takes a minute to look to it.
Searching down, enhance. So we have enhance.
Use AI, bro. It's 2025.
So Hogan was actually on an episode of Baywatch with Macho Man, Ric Flair, Vader, and Kelvin Sullivan, and I think they also had extras from Baywatch in that that Bash at the Beach '95 from Laguna Beach show, which they didn't make any money on the gate, by the way, because it was on a beach.
I've always kind of forgiven things like that a little bit. I mean, okay, On a Beach was kind of stupid, but at least for the Sturgis, I actually understood the whole point behind the Sturgis in the Road Wild. Embedding themselves. I mean, I understand that you needed to make money. I get that, but if WCW had actually lasted and stuck with it, and they didn't just fold in 2001 like a bunch of bitches, and if they'd been a company been around 20 years. After a while, being at Sturgis every year could have had like a cultural impact and brought wrestling and mixed wrestling with a very vibrant and successful culture in its own right. There was in my opinion, that kind of stuff had a forward thinking about it that we just never got to see the payoff of because they yanked it as soon as Bischoff was out.
Hogan had an excellent championship match record, by the way. It's those events. He's actually 3-0 in championship matches.
Oh. Yeah, one of my favorite Hogan moments of his entire career is at, I think, Hog Wild. He beats the Giant for the title, and then here comes Brutus.
This was the greatest moment in the history of our industry.
He's got like a cake. He's celebrating Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan is first like playing along.
Get him, boys!
And then they just wail the absolute shit out of him.
They just beat the crap out of Brutus Beefcake.
After he brings his face around a few times, and your fans know that he had that face injury.
Yes. It was so fantastic. Also, the sell job by the Giant after getting hit in the face with the championship, and then for the next 20 minutes, he's just laying outside the middle of laying in the middle of the middle of the ring like he got shot.
Holy
He's
shit!
just like he sold it brilliantly.
They did a Thunder in Paradise interactive video game.
Yes, I think for the it might have been for the Atari Jaguar or the CDI. I think.
You'd have been better off with the Sega CD, and even then was crap.
Anybody want the CDI? God. Remember those CDI video games for
those
Mario and Zelda?
Those meme-worthy Zelda games that nobody wants to talk about.
Well, excuse me, princess.
Yeah. And then I guess it was like a bird watching game or something, like some weird crap. Like I understand wanting to make a new console, but could you at least put something out that somebody wanted to play? I mean, nobody liked what was that? Nobody liked the Virtual Boy, the red grid line game at all.
It was awful.
But any hardcore gamer has to admit they kind of want to play the Wario game that came on it. So you got to put something on a console that people might want to check out. It's logical. No,
I mean,
not logical.
Well, I look at the Switch too. It's like. Really, you've only released 2 games for it. I think that Donkey Kong
Sega Genesis
game...
released 3 when it first came out. Give them a few months.
That's true. I mean, what
was there? Altered Beast, Rambo 3, and I don't remember what the third or fourth. I don't remember what the other one was.
Rambo 3,
probably one of the Sonic games. Yeah.
No, Sonic game was not a launch title.
Oh, okay.
We're talking Sega Sonic. The launch titles for The launch titles for Sega Genesis was Altered Beast, the Rambo game, which is actually probably the best Rambo game that you're ever going to have on an old school console, and I think there's a couple others. There's one called Last Battle that nobody likes because that one didn't work so well, and I think Golden Axe was pretty quick thereafter.
Speaking of Rambo, we do have to comment on the fact that Sly Stallone, the genius that he is, putting Hogan as Thunderlips in Rocky 3. I saw 98.5 The Sport Hub's Michael Felger talking about that today, how awesome that scene was of like the best 7 or 8 minutes that you could possibly want in a movie of just absolute fun and chaos. Was him as Thunderlips up against Rocky, which is absolutely true.
Yeah,
Thunderlips in the flesh,
I haven't even seen the whole movie, but I've seen that scene. It's the scene to watch.
It is fantastic.
And I kind of remember how wasn't Hogan wearing some kind of weird suspenders and a hat at one point in that movie?
Yes, he's got a cape and a hat he comes out with.
Yeah.
And that, what the interesting part about that is that when that movie came out, Sly Stallone went on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and the only thing that Carson wanted to talk about was Hulk Hogan. So right after that, in the midst of his time as being an AWA superstar, think about that, Vern Gagne. The fact that in the midst of him being a superstar for the AWA under the leadership of Vern Gagne, not Vince McMahon. He was on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. And you would think that after being on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, that you would give him the championship and have him beat Nick Bockwinkel clean.
Have you seen any of those matches by chance?
Yeah, they're fantastic.
They are fantastic.
I've seen the
one. And honestly... if I remember, if I can recall correctly, I think I remember when I was watching the match, I heard the crowd response from that, and the crowd response was electric,
absolutely nuts.
And Hogan, I mean, when Hogan won the title off of Iron Sheik, he really, really looked like it was something special. Don't get me wrong, but when Hogan held that AEW champion, he kind of looked AWA championship. He really looked like the boyhood dream, Shawn Michaels, for a minute. For about half a minute there. Only for them to take it away.
They did this 2 years in a row.
And
for
they
their
all, and he
spring
also had
show.
it done to him in NWA. I've checked on this. He actually
Yes.
beat Harley Race for the title in '79, but they took it away on some
They
show
yep.
in like Tennessee or Kentucky or something.
They
So I don't
have
know.
done this. Well, he was supposed to be at Starrcade of '83. That was the rumor that he was going to be at Starrcade '83, and then right before Starrcade '83, he made the deal with Vince, which also led to him pretty much leaving the AWA
Well,
almost.
Starrcade would have never made him. I don't think NWA would have made him champion either, because all the politics was about Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair.
Yes, it was, but the only thing that would have, and it wouldn't have helped him either with Jimmy Crockett, because Jimmy had already found his guys and he was going to stick with those guys. And I don't know if there was a lot of people inside the AEW, inside the NWA board that really trusted.
Yeah, and
Hogan.
on top of that, Crockett really prefers guys not quite technical like Vern Gagne, but definitely guys who can wrestle at what is high quality matches of a kind of grudge match style, where they're like, well, let's see if I it's like. Without trying to go into too much detail, because this isn't what this show about, basically NWA style is something I would call the struggle, where each man is struggling. Each man is struggling like a serious gladiatorial combat to try to get the edge over one another, and it usually involves intelligent move sets without being overly complicated. Like if you take if you were to wrestle,
accurate. That is actually a very extremely accurate description of what I thought NWA like Crockett style wrestling was.
It's like, okay, like if you look at WWF at any point in its history, you've got wrestlers executing moves, and almost consistently, whatever moves they execute always hits the same place in the body, or as close as it can possibly get. The sweet chin music always hits the fucking chin. You know what I mean? The RKO, all that stuff always hits the same spot. But in NWA struggle style, if Shawn Michaels was wrestling that, he might switch chin music a different part of the body because it would make sense at the time.
Right.
He might give a sudden severe kick to the side of the knee. It's all part of the struggle. And Hogan's style of wrestling was never really that. Even his New Japan style was just what he could do in WWF, but with a lot more fancier moves and more selling. So I just don't think that Hogan's style would have gotten over well with Crockett, and therefore I don't think he would have been. He'd have to really, really convince Crockett with merch moves and money in order for Crockett to actually go with him, because I know Crockett passed over some hotter people for his phase.
I will say he's also probably got one of my favorite clotheslines with that axe bomber. Dear Lord, that match he had with Stan Hansen.
Talking Hogan still?
Yeah, have you seen the match with Stan Hansen? The one he had.
I've seen one of the matches. I know there's actually a couple of them on YouTube. I know there's 2 or 3 that happened.
There was a one that it just happened after WrestleMania 6, and it was fantastic. And Hogan actually beat him with the axe bomber, which I was shocked that even Stan would let him beat like him with his own move inside Japan. I was stunned, just because like Stan Hansen was seen as an absolute killer in Japan, and Hogan beat him with the axe bar. I'm like, you got to be kidding, really?
Yeah. If I've seen that match, it's been a very, very long time because there's not ringing too many bells.
It's another real Japan kind of like classic, because I think anybody that is a WWF fan, and it was actually, I think, on may have been on Hulkamania Forever, the Coliseum video of Hulkamania Forever. They did a lot of them. But I think it was Hulkamania Forever, the matchup with him and Stan Hansen. And it was fantastic. Like one of the most underrated matches, I think, of his career, now that I think about it. I mean, which, the match I had mentioned, kind of like the beginning of the program, I had said, I always thought that the matchup that he had with Vader at Super Brawl 5 was probably the best big match of the entire 1995 pay-per-view calendar year for either company.
It certainly wasn't Bret Hart versus Backlund in an I Quit match. It was not that.
I will say Shawn and Diesel was really good for Mania 11,
but Shawn and Diesel in '96 had a better
so
Good Friends, Better Enemies is 100% better.
So much better.
Yeah.
And I just think that
John was being an asshole in the match, and it kind of takes away.
When was Shawn not being an asshole in 1995?
1995, yeah, probably
the
not
90s
ever.
period, I feel like.
But if Shawn was booked to win, he was gonna play nice. If he was booked to lose, he could be a little bit of an asshole.
Except Vader. Vader, he just, oh my God. It's like Vader is like a killer that's supposed to just absolutely destroy everybody. And then it's just SummerSlam. Boom! Boom! My God. But we've really been all over the place tonight. But I think,
I mean, after 4 celebrity deaths this week, I think it's hard not to kind of want to jump around a little bit anyway.
yeah, it's just like we're all kind of, at least I'm still in shock because I'm still trying to get over the Ozzy thing, which but then this thing today was just this. It's going to be a long weekend of probably just like Ozzy and Hogan clips. Probably.
I mean, it's hard to process. Like Ozzy was a few days ago.
Difficulties.
You're good.
No, it's fine.
Ozzy was a few days ago, and then Hulk Hogan was on Thursday, and we're recording Thursday night. It's like we're still in that shock phase just from Ozzy alone, and then you have Hogan today, and that's very fresh, obviously, as well. It's just it's difficult.
It's difficult, and it's
all right. Got my technical difficulty fixed.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's difficult to process too.
Sorry.
It's just it's been the. I also hate to like have to come out of these shows and talk about like, people dying. I feel like that's just been like a consistent thing here sometimes in this program, where we're having to do like open our program with a 10-bell salute.
Welcome to getting older.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
That's aging. People start dying.
Yeah.
You start keeping tabs after a while. It's like, oh shit, he did. Like when Sergeant Slaughter tweeted to Hulk Hogan. That was how I found out he was still alive.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
You sometimes forget, but this was truly a big week as far as like celebrity deaths are concerned.
And shit, I hope we don't get any more this week because I think we need to catch our breath.
Yeah,
so remember when Lemmy and David Bowie died within a couple days of each other?
Oh, that was a bad one.
Yeah, David Bowie. Lemmy ended the year 2015 dying, and then we got 2016, which just saw a hell of a lot of death. There was like a whole bunch of people just started popping off, wrestling business included, because I think we lost I think there was a couple lost there.
1997, there was like a 3 or 4 month period where it was like Princess Diana, Mother Teresa,
That's
and then
okay.
like Chris Farley, like a couple months later.
That one hurt. You see me? Yeah. And I really feel for Chris Farley and Princess Diana. Mother Teresa, I really feel for Chris Farley and Princess Diana.
Yes. And then Phil Hartman, I think, took place like in May of '98. So that was rather close to all of them. And that was also too at a very young age where I just kind of really couldn't absorb it.
It was kind of Benoit-like too. Years before we had Benoit.
Well, the Benoit thing was just more or less. It's the only equivalent thing I think I could think of in this industry of just like shell shock.
Like I mentioned earlier in the show, I stopped watching wrestling for a long time after that, except for seeking out the Undertaker versus the Edge match.
Right. And I understood why people did that because I thought about it. I kind of dipped out for a bit of just like
I had the misfortune of being a roommate with his first cousin in the Army when that happened.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the guy, and of all things, his name was actually Chris Benoit. And he's my cousin. I was in the Army. Sergeant Benoit, or not my cousin, it was Benoit's cousin. Whatever. I'm getting, and yeah, we've been talking, hanging out, talking about wrestling. He's like, I got pictures of it. I got to meet The Undertaker and Dean Malenko and all these people because of Chris Benoit, my cousin. Yeah, and then that happens, and I'm looking at him like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons I never jumped into the conspiracy theories, though, is because of that. Because after Chris Benoit, a few days after the cousin Chris Benoit, a few days to process what happened, he told me that what he understood from talking to the people in his family is that Benoit, that wrestler Benoit just went crazy with some kind of CTE or steroids or something. They came up with a lot of different. We hadn't narrowed it down to exactly what caused it, except they weren't saying it wasn't the freaking mafia like my uncle believes. My uncle thinks the mafia did it, and I've given up arguing with him. They were already accepting of the fact that something had gone wrong inside Benoit's head. They just weren't sure what it was yet. So I never jumped on the old conspiracy, not Kevin Sullivan, none of that crap. One of my partners spoke with Kevin Sullivan, for God's sakes, and no, it wasn't it.
That narrative has always just been kind of like, really? Like,
bullshit
you guys
crap.
honestly think that?
I mean, okay, first off, knowing with absolute certainty in my heart from having met members of that, having met the cousin Chris Benoit and a few other things that I've seen, and my buddy having actually worked with Kevin Sullivan. Kevin Sullivan is innocent of that, but more importantly, Kevin Sullivan loved this woman, was married to this woman, and they had a real serious family, and they lost, and their marriage fell apart and got divorced. But he still loved his wife, as most husbands do, even if they won't admit it. But he's got to go online and see idiots going, Kevin Sullivan killed Chris Benoit and Nancy Benoit. How would you feel getting online and seeing someone accusing you of killing your friggin' wife when you didn't do it? That was an awful thing to do to anybody. And I will hate fans that did that with every passion with every feeling in my heart. I'd never wish that on anybody. It was like walking up to Sandy Hook kids and say, your child didn't really die. She was an actor. It's the same. That's just bullshit.
Well, I mean, what do you expect with that guy? I mean, come on. Like that.
Seriously.
I actually worked for a radio station in Hartford at that point, that day when that happened. And that probably was the darkest day in my life that I've ever dealt with as far as humanity goes, when everybody you work with is pretty much crying. And you're also getting firsthand accounts of what the hell is actually going on. So for Jackoff to even come out with those comments I was so glad when when he got sued and got pretty much taken to the absolute cleaners.
Yeah, he lost everything, including
which
his
I'm
show.
glad. Which I'm glad he deserves it.
I don't even think his wife stayed with him.
I don't think anybody stayed with him, except like the real extremists.
The only thing I like about him right now is he's saying the same thing I'm saying. Release the list.
Yes. I think. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. But this got dark for you for a death show.
And, well, I mean, it's a death show, but it's also for somebody too. It's not like Bray Wyatt's. Bray Wyatt's was really sad. Like
Bray Wyatt was awful. That was terrible. What happened?
Jay Briscoe again was
same year.
And sad.
Wait, that was the same year.
It was the same year, and it was like that. Those were hard. Eddie Guerrero was hard. As
a father, Jay Briscoe's thing really screwed with me because I'd seen that video of him doing the cheers with his daughter and stuff like that.
That was just hard.
And I thought about that scenario being like, and there for a little bit, Jericho had posted something that made it seem like it was touch and go with one of the kids. And then there was talk like one of the kids wouldn't walk again, but I guess now that she can, I guess she was able to come through it.
Yeah.
Everything about that was just awful.
Everything about that was terrible.
Even WWE acknowledged the death of Jay Briscoe. I think they made a mention of it on NXT.
They actually in the 2K game now, it's no longer the double underhook pile driver. It's called the J Driller.
That's cool.
So
I don't really follow. I haven't kept up with the game since 2015, so I don't know. But that is cool.
Yeah, no, they
I've
renamed
still
it the
never
J
forgiven
Driller.
them for 2015.
I don't blame you. I remember 2015. They've had some rough years, but I feel
I
like
have
that
2017 by virtue of the fact that a console that I bought had it pre-downloaded. That's the only reason I have 2017. I haven't actually started to. I haven't actually started it so I can play it.
I think that's the one with Brock on the cover.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It shows up in the display. It's on my daughter's PlayStation 4 that I bought off of some guy on Craigslist.
That's funny.
She got a PS4 Pro and I got a regular PS4. That happened.
I think the big this is when I was able to meet Hogan last year, which
But you're glad you got that in now, aren't you?
thank God. I talked about that today with the wifey because I said, you pretty much had the intuition, didn't you? She's like, yep. She's like, I knew you're going to the Rumble. And the fact that he was there the next day, something was telling me it's now or never. And if I didn't get a chance to meet him, it would have been never.
Yeah.
And the one thing I remember from that was I remember telling everybody how surreal it was. Because the reason why I'm hosting this show, the reason why I've been into this for so long, the reason why I have dedicated the millions of hours into this industry, the reason why I have done so much self teaching and research for this program and just for my own amusement and time, the reason all because of that goes back to Hulk Hogan. He's the reason I got in. He's the reason why I think a lot of us got in. And
even if it wasn't the reason directly, even if it wasn't like I got into this for Hulk Hogan, if you say I got into this for Steve Austin, would you have even had a Steve Austin if it wasn't Hogan first?
Exactly. He was the one that pretty much just said, all right, because he was everything was territories before he came in, and it was just like, okay, I'm the guy. Somebody mentioned today, they said he is a top 5 pop culture icon of the 1980s, and that's hard to disagree with.
Yeah, we lost two. We lost 2 of those in 1 week.
That's true.
Because the Ozzy's the other one.
Too. You could also make
that one is, let's see. There's Ozzy. There's Hogan.
Reagan.
I would say Michael Jackson.
Reagan.
Mike Tyson, maybe, or maybe he's more 90s. I don't know. You can debate that.
Could you say Reagan is a pop culture icon?
Maybe, but that's more of his politics days.
Well, David.
No, Schwarzenegger.
You could say the same thing about
Schwarzenegger,
Stallone,
maybe Stallone too, but definitely Schwarzenegger.
But you could also say Mike Tyson. You're correct.
Yeah.
But top 5 pop culture icon, arguably, for a lot of people. But it's the truth. You got to look at Hulk Hogan. Everybody
except for my dad knows who Hulk Hogan is.
Even my mom sent her condolences over to me. It was weird having to get condolences from people, for celebrities. But they also do it. They're just like, it's funny.
Mom texted me, I'm sorry, when she found out that Hulk Hogan died.
My brother texted me too. And my uncle called me earlier too. And I've gotten plenty of calls from people too and kind of check-in texts because they knew how important Hulk Hogan was. And I feel like that's a lot. That's not just for me. And I understand the people that don't like him. I understand the people that they look at his legacy and they just can't look at it the same way. And I understand that and I accept that. But I'm also someone that does not judge a person for someone that they like or someone that they support or someone that they're friends with. Or what someone believes in. There were certain things that Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, the person, I didn't believe in. And that's some of his politics, some of his views on race. I don't agree.
Hulk Hogan's popular enough in the Northeast that his appearance in the RNC might have been enough to get Pennsylvania for Trump.
That's true.
Maybe.
I mean, that may have been.
It might have been, because I don't really subscribe to the theory that superstars can change votes. But I don't rule it out either. You never know.
I also think that could have been the assassination attempts, and him standing up and getting that picture of him.
Yeah, that's probably the big one.
That to me, I think, was the second that I saw that. And that was the cover of Time magazine the very next week, which I knew it was going to be. I said, "That's it."
Yeah, it was over.
It's over.
After that. Yep.
Like, that's it. That's the image that everybody's going to get from this whole thing, and it's exactly right. And, and for a lot of people, that was trust me, it was. I felt a little. Kind of like watching that RNC last year, having him cut that speech. And also wearing that same T-shirt that I had bought, commemorating when he ended the Gulf War in 1991 by defeating Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania 7. Yeah. That's not in your history book, kids. You got to read that. Like that, you got to do your own research on that. But go to WrestleMania 7, Hulk Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter. Hulk Hogan winning ended that Persian Gulf War. Isn't that right, Dave?
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely 100% what it is. Just like how Mr. Iguana's iguana was actually legitimately injured by Santino Marella's cowardly attack on TNA.
And when George Bush landed on that aircraft carrier with the mission accomplished sign, just hang in there.
That aircraft carrier mission accomplished would have gone over so much better if somebody was there to slam Yokozuna. I know he was dead already by then, but by God, we just use some necromancy, bring him back, get Lex Luger, inject some kind of superpower into him, have him slam it. It'd be great. I've killed Dan. Dan is dead.
And on that note, do we have any closing thoughts on either Hulk Hogan or Ozzy or any other celebrities that passed this week?
I want to say something about Ozzy because we haven't talked about Ozzy hardly at all.
Hell yeah!
The first Ozzy Osbourne song I ever heard is I don't even know what the hell I got. I think it might have been one of my brother's little cassette tapes. It was the one that has the song "Fairies Wear Boots." Didn't like it. Don't get me wrong. I love friggin' Ozzy, but I didn't like it. I was like, I don't really care. And then as I got older, I listened to songs like Paranoid and War Pig. And Paranoid is, in my opinion, not only one of my personal favorites in terms of songs, but the fast speed that they were doing Paranoid kind of signaled where heavy metal would go in about 6 to 7 years. Because it's faster played than almost every other song that Black Sabbath had released at the time. And Paranoid, it was exactly, it's like, you can hear in there where somebody like Metallica or Megadeth or even some of the Quiet Riot types and more of the hair metal, where they would be going, the faster play heavy metal. Most of their stuff was slow and heavy, and that's awesome too. War Pig is amazing. But that Paranoid song is where is the signal where heavy metal is going. War Pig is where heavy metal is now, as we are becoming the godfathers of heavy metal. This is where it is now. Paranoid is where it's going. And Ozzy if you're gonna make if you're going to ask who like the George Washington of heavy metal is, it would probably be Ozzy Osbourne for how much he doesn't quite invent the genre, but how much he makes it happen. And Ozzy, to me, as a huge heavy metal fan, I owe him so much joy. Whether I'm listening to Ozzy music or Metallica or that period or that weird angry time in my life where I really loved Hatebreed, and I was angry, or any other heavy metal you can ever think of, or even things influenced by heavy metal, much like how modern day wrestling comes back to Hogan, modern all heavy metal points back to Ozzy Osbourne and early days Black Sabbath.
Mac?
No, it was funny when you said George Washington because I was like, well, we're talking about Hulk Hogan. I think that's the perfect reference. And then you hit it.
Well,
I
was gonna hit the Ozzy. We're gonna do Ozzy first, and then we'll close out with Hogan.
Well, I mean, for Ozzy, I think David nailed it. Like I said, I think that,
Yes.
you know, if you want to make the comparison between him and Hogan as the trailblazers of their industries, respectively, I think that's 100% spot on. I've made my thoughts transitioning to Hulk Hogan. I've made my thoughts very clear about how I feel about him in the past. But again, I have to look at it with the same perspective that I said earlier in the show, where, yes, I don't care for him specifically, but there are some matches that he had that I loved. We talked about the Randy Savage match, obviously. But again, he changed the industry so many times over, whether it be in WWE, whether it be in WCW, whether it be coming back WWE. He's just changed it so much over the years that's hard not to say, okay, I have to give him his credit. And that's kind of where I stand on the topic. He's never going to be my favorite now or ever, but I still have to look at the body of work that he had put in over the years and how over he was, how massively over he was, and just kind of pay him his dues, give him his flowers. It's kind of the whole name of the show for me at this point, outside of talking about Ozzy, obviously, as well. But we've said it a million times. It's been a week. It's been a very tough week for celebrity deaths, and being a fan of Ozzy, being a fan of at least pro wrestling as well. I don't want to say Hulk Hogan, but I guess I have to. It's a tough week.
Yes, it is.
This is the hardest part for me on the show now, to kind of sum everything up, not only for the length of this program, but for the years that both people have had an impact on my life. Ozzy Osbourne with his music, which helped me get jobs at rock stations, which helped me get more into bands like Metallica, bands like Led Zeppelin, bands like The Who and the Rolling Stones, all those hard rock kind of heavy metal bands that kind of came out of that sound, the post-World War II era. Talk about a success story out of someone that didn't finish high school, was a burglar, and really got inspired by the Beatles and became probably the most successful hard rock act till the very end of his career, which not many people can say that. The last show that he ever held and he ever performed at, where he sang Mama, I'm Coming Home, drew almost $200 million, which he then promptly donated to charity supporting children and also Parkinson's research. A massive friend to animals, other than the incident with the bats and the doves at his contract signing meeting. I had the chance to meet him at a book signing back in 2010. That picture was screwed up by the worker at I believe it was Barnes and Noble.
Oh, that
Brookline.
asshole! I remember that.
Yeah,
Son of a bitch.
It still to this day drives me crazy. I was in his presence twice. One for that, and then the other was for Monday Night Raw, where he guest GM'd it with Sharon in 2009, which he got some of the loudest ovations of the night. That during that era of Raw, he was the most over guy in the building. They were chanting his name louder than anybody else on the card.
Granted,
John
it wasn't all
Cena-
that hard. That was kind of rough.
John
those
Cena
years.
and DX were there, so that's like they had some star power, but they didn't compare to the Ozman. And I have him tattooed on my arm for a reason, because his music and his vibe always kind of spoke to me. Maybe not a lot of the hardcore drug use, but I understand. Sounds like Sweet Leaf and that type of stuff.
Vast
understand
amounts
that
of
more than I-
marijuana.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, thank you. And to eulogize him, some of the best concerts I were ever at, those Ozfest were incredible between 2002 and 2005. Some of the best musical concerts I've ever been to. Some of the best acts that I've ever seen. And I've seen some great ones. I've seen Metallica, Van Halen, and Eric Clapton, but none of them compare to Ozzy. And it's hard for me to just sum that up. And that was something that I was going to begin the program with. And then, of course, earlier today, the news came out that the inspiration for a lot of us to get into this business of being a fan of this industry and now being able to be a contributor to the wrestling lexicon on the internet, to be able to give my opinion open and freely. It would not have come to pass if it wasn't for one Hulk Hogan. In 1990, 1991, he was the be-all, end-all. And he was on my Mount Rushmore in 1990 and 1991 and in 2025. And probably forever and a day until the day I pass, he will be on my Mount Rushmore personally. He is the greatest WWF champion in the history of the company. No one will ever come close. Roman Reigns has, as far as maybe length of reigns, he's had some great. The last one that he just had was one of the better ones, but I do not think you can compare the box office draw that he was. The first first 5 WrestleManias were all based around him in that winning the championship on multiple occasions or helping someone win the championship. Look at WrestleMania 4, WrestleMania 6, trying to pass the torch, WrestleMania 7, of course, winning the Iraq War. He did all he could to make the WWF a juggernaut and make it what it became, to win ultimately the ultimate territorial war and laid everybody out. And he was the top general while Vince McMahon was the guy, more or less the president of the United States, telling him where to go and where we're going to invade next. Hogan was, for a lot of us, our gateway drug into the wrestling business. And whether you had the toys, whether you wore the shirts, whether you had the foam fingers or anything like that, he was, for some of us, the be-all, end-all. And I never understood it when I was younger, when people would compare to how how much they thought the great Bruno Sammartino was. But now that I get older, I understand it. And now I look at the people that sit there and talk about how John Cena is the greatest of all time. And I look and just say, he doesn't hold a candle to even Hulk Hogan. And the last thing that Vince McMahon said to Hulk before WrestleMania 8 is the same thing that I'm going to say now to Hulk Hogan. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the inspiration. And thank you for Hulkamania. On behalf of everybody at Pro Wrestling World, I want to thank everybody for their kind words that everybody said about Hulk today, because I understand for some of them it may have been a little difficult, but everybody understands the historical implications that this man has had on this industry and the historical foundation that he laid for everybody, all of us, to be able to be successful and be able to contribute to the pro wrestling kind of culture and fandom online. And David has done an incredible job, not only at Pro Wrestling World, but also with Wrestling Glory Days, and being able to preserve Hulk Hogan's legacy and to remember the best of what he's done for this industry and not other things, and be able to separate the gimmick from the man. And that to me should be the important thing about all this. Anything to close, guys? Anything else to say?
David?
I'm thinking. I was so moved by the nice things you said, but
I'm trying to. I got to try
great.
to end it on.
I'm not trying to say anything bad. It was great. I suppose for me, so you guys have said it so well. I suppose I'll just say a childhood memory of mine with Hulk Hogan. For my closing thoughts. Survivor Series 1987, easily the best pay-per-view the WWF ran up until the Attitude Era, in my opinion. Fight me.
Great.
Anyway, Hogan loses, kind of bunch of bullcrap, right? At the end, Andre is celebrating. As an adult, I have always hated that Andre lost his spot. But as a kid, when Hogan runs out there and whips Andre the Giant away and stands and poses like he won the damn thing, as a kid, I loved it. It was my first show, my first wrestling thing I'd ever seen, and Hogan goes out posing, and as Gorilla says, giving the people what they want. And that to me is like when I go back and I watch wrestling, from that era, it's always that I always get that good little warm feeling when Hogan's going out doing the posing stuff when he was hot, when he was absolutely on fire. And that was one of my closing thoughts, is that warm childhood memory that will never go away. And I don't want it to go away, because that is how I got into wrestling. Is Hogan's out there chasing Andre out of the ring and posing like he's the friggin' man that he was. And that's what I got.
Hard to debate. Anything, Mac, that you want to close with?
I love the NWO. as much as I hate the man and at times the character, I loved Hollywood Hogan.
I did too.
Hell yeah.
I thought that was one of the best heel turns in the industry. Obviously at that time, but even since, there are few and far between, whether it be a face turn or a heel turn, that is better than the Hulk Hogan turn.
It's the greatest turn in the history of the industry.
It really is.
Voodoo Child is the best Hogan theme ever.
Oh my God, it's so great. I want to use that as my, if we ever eventually do have a wedding ceremony, I want to come out to that.
Yeah, if we can ever somehow get it, we don't get sued. I'm totally on board.
No, if me and Steph ever walked down the aisle, it's like that's our song. No, it's non-negotiable. We're coming out to Voodoo Child. Why? It's cool.
It's just gonna happen. Just let it happen.
Just let it happen. Mac is just like, yeah, you just gotta let it happen. There's no negotiations here. What a week, but what a time, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, what a fucking week.
Eulogizing not only Ozzy Osbourne, but the Immortal One, Hulk Hogan. And I guess to close it out, we all have to agree that Hulkamania will live forever.
No doubt.
Good night, everybody.